So I let some time go by, and there were some pretty big wars that popped up all around the same time.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things to cover. The first big one that happened was the British conquest of Azua. And I don't know if we talked about this. Maybe you guys did see this. I can't remember. But let's just look at this visually, what's going on, of course, with Britain. Because this has a big impact on France. Because Great Britain called in their alliance of Italy. And I'm guessing the Dominican Republic were allied to France? Yes, they were, and that is only going to make things so much worse for France. This is not going to be helpful because France just got dominated. They don't really have that big of a military. Remember, they got dominated in the sense that they lost a pretty big war against the other Western powers, and they were forced to release a whole bunch of new countries, and they already didn't have the biggest army in the world. Now, Italy should do some damage here, but I'm not exactly sure. Where is the Italian regiments at? I thought they had a little bit more than just this 22 stack. Although, if Great Britain comes and helps them out, then that's completely different. They might... Oh, yeah, here's the 77 stack, which they're already going after right now. I guess they might have healed up or something like that, but it looks like France only has 26,000 men so far. Oh, no, they don't. Okay, so this should be interesting to watch. It seems like Italy's gotten off to a pretty quick start. But, yeah, let's go ahead and actually look at the main battlegrounds of this area. So, Great Britain actually declared the war on the Dominican Republic, so this shouldn't be too difficult for them to take. Yeah, they've got Brazil here on their side already. They're sieging them out. They probably should get 100. They should probably get 100% war score, at least with just the Dominican Republic. Now, that's not going to happen because they don't, they have to get the alliances out of it too. Either get the alliances to separate peace or actually go and dominate the alliances, but either way. And who else is in this one? Oh, that's right. France's little colony somewhere out here in the, somewhere. Where is that island at exactly? Let me just make sure I know where it's at. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, so that's not gonna have. They're not gonna have a good time. They will not have a good time. So that's one war that's popped up. We have Macedonia versus Koskov. I just looked at the pronunciation of this, and I apologize. But yeah, Macedonia is going to obviously dominate. I believe, yeah, they've already got it pretty much. It's already over. I mean, what they called in Yugoslavia and Bosnia, who are pretty sizable powers in this region. You know what I mean? Like this region is pretty divided up. So that is pretty helpful that they were able to join in, and they should be doing a lot of damage to Greece. I'm thinking more than likely because it doesn't look like Greece has much of an army at the moment, but I might be missing something here. Okay, so now here are the three individual wars. We've got Malaya versus Australia. Yes, it has finally happened. Finally, Malaya has taken to the Pacific, which I figured they would after about a few decades. Honestly, they have stayed away from the Pacific. They've done most of their expansion through Southeast Asia, but finally they decided to go after the Australians in the South, so we have our first Australian war. It is about dang time. They should really think about picking up some alliances. I'm wondering if New Zealand would have helped. I'm waiting for the Solomon Islands. I thought that they would eventually be destroyed by Malaya, but I guess Malaya wants to go after Australia. So we'll have to see. I mean, it looks like number-wise, Malaya has their number, but, again, the Malayan Empire is divided up on these islands. A lot of it has to do with their navy. I'm not exactly sure how strong the Australian fleet is. It looks pretty good, but they've got to merge those units together. They can't just keep those regiments divided because Malaya has a massive navy. Look at that, 271 stacks. So, you know what? Even with these guys merged together, I don't think it's going to be enough, but still, we'll see. They have to actually land in Australia to get something to happen, but that's going to be difficult because, well, I don't know. I imagine that the Australian Navy, or I guess Navy and Army, they can't have that good of Army tradition or naval tradition because they've never been involved in a war so far in this entire campaign. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Poland versus Estonia, that's not that big of a one, big of a war. Poland should grab a hold of these two provinces. Actually, they've got to fight off these Protestant zealots too, even. And then finally, Russia versus Mongolia, another nation that is yet to be in war. Finally, Mongolia was, well, they didn't declare the war. It was, again, both of these nations were, Mongolia and Australia were are the defenders in their wars. They wouldn't have been in a war, but they decided to be, I guess, some aggressors decided to attack them. So we'll have to see how that goes. Obviously, Mongolia probably won't have a good time here, but you never know. They've got a 54 stack. Russia's going to have to group themselves up, and who knows how many regiments were in Eastern and Western Russia. I did that backwards. I apologize. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, and then the final thing before I hit play, well, I guess I'll hit play, but a lot of you guys have been asking about like the different map modes, and we're going to go ahead and look at that. So let's look at the religious map modes. We have dominance in the Catholic faith here. I'm actually wondering how much this has changed from the start of the campaign. I don't think we checked in on it. Not too much, at least. Amazonian Austral? Is that what that is? Well, anyways, this is a major part that's Catholic of the United States. I don't think that that's normal. That definitely does not seem normal. It seems like either Catholicism is being kicked out or it's being pushed forward further into the south, because we've got almost Texas following the entirety. Almost all of Texas is Catholic. Where I live in LA is Catholic. Most of California Catholic. Pretty crazy stuff. Florida Catholic. Only one Reformed so far, with Rhode Island and Pennsylvania, looks like. Connecticut. Yes. Combination of those states. And in terms of in terms of the rest of the world, it doesn't seem like too many things have happened. Shia has stayed within this zone of the Middle East. Actually, it is interesting to see that Shia has not been converted from the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula. Even though Egypt controls this, no conversions have been successful, I guess. I don't even know if the AI is doing it. In this mod, they might not. Malaya seems like they're a majority following Sunni Islam. Orthodox, looks like that's about the same. Protestantism, about the same. Northern Germany, as well as the Scandinavian countries. Actually, you know what? The British Isles are pretty divided here. It does seem like the British Isles are all divided with Protestantism. Obviously, Catholic dominated in Ireland. A little bit of Catholicism in a small province here. But yeah, no, that's pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and check out the EU. Okay, so this is something for sure. Okay, so definitely there's been people that have left the EU, it looks like. We've got Greece, Romania, Serbia, Ukraine, Austria. We've got a few of the smaller nations still involved. I think, so Germany for sure left. Poland for sure left. Italy was a part of the EU at the start of this mod. So that is interesting. So it does look like the EU is breaking apart. Now, what does this mean? Spain is the elector. I'm not sure exactly how that plays into this mod. Holy Roman Empire. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly if that's like... I wish I knew more about the politics in the European Union, but I think... I'm not sure. But anyways, Spain is apparently like the... I don't think there's a leader per se, right? All I know in like real life, I think, is that in the EU, I don't even know if this is the right thing. I just know that Germany is like the big country in the EU, the big country. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of a name for that, if that's like a real thing inside of the European Union, if there's a country that tends to, I don't know, has some sort of representation, some sort of more representation. Well, it looks like if that's the case, if I'm right about that, which I have no idea, and I apologize for my ignorance, then it looks like Spain is that person. But yeah, no, it looks like so Germany, Poland, Italy seems to have left. A few nations in the Balkans. Anyways, and I think that's about it in terms of map modes. I mean, those are the ones that everyone is wondering about. We'll probably check out the trade node map mode a little bit later. And let's go ahead and just, well, I mean, technology is a pretty good one. Okay, everyone's Western, pretty much. Well, not exactly, right? Yeah, no, not everyone is Western, technically, but pretty much everyone has the same amount of administrative technology and all this other stuff. That is about the exact same. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. France was separatist, and were they forced to leave anything back behind? Is Great Britain still in their war? No, they're not, and actually, they only took away one province away from the Dominican Republic. They should have taken way more than that. That's not good. They should have taken way more than that, and it does look like France is about the exact same. Actually, you know what? Provence might have picked up a few provinces. Maybe they did. Provence, did you just acquire these lands? I don't even know. If I scroll all the way down, I should be able to see. Left the Holy Roman Empire. Yeah, so there's a lot of countries that are leaving the EU, at least in terms of this mod. Well, France got pretty lucky. Let's go ahead and check on the other wars. We have an African war going on. But anyways, so Poland is dominated, but look at this, Yugoslavia. Wait a second. This is a separate war. This is a totally different war. Malaya is starting to really dominate the Australians. I want to see if they actually made a landing in mainland Australia. So Poland's already eaten up Estonia. And now they've moved on for Yugoslavia, which I don't really know why, because they don't technically have a border with Yugoslavia. And visually, this is what it looks like. Macedonia, they've also been called into a war with Macedonia. And then one other nation, must be a smaller nation because, yeah, it's with Genoa. Okay, so that's happening. Let's see how Russia's doing. Russia's allowed the Mongolian regiments to just run up into Russia. This is the problem with being Russia in this mod, is that, or maybe I guess just in general, is that they're just so big. It's like, how do you catch them? This 50 stack will catch the 15 stack eventually, and then they're going to need to unite to do something about this 55 stack. They might have rushed in for Mongolian lands a little bit too fast. Maybe a little bit too fast. Oh my gosh, and yes, they did. They totally made a landing inside of Australia, and they're being pushed back. There's this 80 stack is going to be able to handle everything. Looks like they've already lost one battle. Australia's got to group up their armies right now. Unless they get stack wiped. No, this is bad. This is very, very bad for Australia. Although it's not terrible, as long as they don't make another landing, but they've got 3 big blockades up north. Well, they did have 3. They might be bringing in more troops. See, if they bring in see, right now they're okay, but the AI's got to get their stuff together and unite. But if they're going to drop off more troops, which I imagine that at some point they will, there's an 88 stack that might just be waiting to board the ships over for Australia. But right now it's not terrible. I mean, you could get something going here, perhaps. It would be close. You could definitely get something going, but you got to be fast, man. You got to be fast. You certainly can kick them off. You can definitely. You've got 250 stacks. You should be able to handle this. Although, we don't know some of the disadvantages that maybe Australia is facing because they've never been involved in a war. That is a big deal. Ooh, here's a 16 stack. It's by themselves. Actually, that's probably going to get stack wiped. Let's see if there's any majority. Well, besides the 3-star general that Malaya controls, there's... Oh, wait, look at that. So military tactics, it definitely is in favor of Australia with 3.9 and only 2.9 for Malaya. That's a pretty big difference. Morale is on Malaya's side, and they have the same amount of discipline. I mean, morale is a pretty big deal that they have such low morale. And luckily for the Malayan AI, Australia is not being super smart. And they're not grouping together their regiments, which is a big issue, obviously. Malaya is very lucky because they're also doing dumb things. They're not bringing over more troops. Wondering if China would ever think about capitalizing while Malaya is all the way down here fighting off the Australians. They could easily walk into some of these lands in Southeast Asia and start taking this over. That wouldn't be a bad idea, I don't think. Okay, anything else that started up new? Spain in a smaller war for some of the minor countries that popped out of France, it looks like. It could be a big pickup for them, actually. And Russia and Mongolia have pieced out, too. Okay, let's go ahead and check in on that. Nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing. Okay, so maybe Russia... I'm not sure exactly. Wait a second, what's going on here? Oh my gosh, China, are you in another war? Yes, you are. Another war just popped up, and it is versus... Wait a second. It is... Oh my gosh. Okay, so Poland just got out of another war with Yugoslavia. I imagine they didn't take anything. Yeah, I don't even know why they did that. And again, Poland is going to go after Russia. We've seen this happen before. Now, Poland is allied to China, which is a big deal. China, Poland, and Norway are going to have their way with Russia, although the Saudis could help out a little bit. The Saudis could help out, but that's not going to be enough. Obviously, Russia's going to get dominated because China's in the east, and China is like unstoppable. But if the Saudis decide to attack Poland, that could definitely slow down their progress in Western Russia. We'll see. Somewhat. You also have to consider Norway is going to be slightly a part of this, slightly involved. Yep, Spain is totally going to pick up more lands, I think. It looks like it, at least. Which would be a big pickup for Spain, because Spain is really starting to benefit from like a broken France. And I don't think I talked about this enough. Like, really, having this broken France, is a big deal for Europe, because you're talking about a lot of very powerful nations already absorbing even more possible power, with Italy, Germany, Great Britain, and Spain all surrounding and all kind of contenders for that European top spot. Specifically, I'm looking at Germany and Great Britain. This could be a big pickup. Now, Germany's not as lucky because nothing from Eastern France has really been released yet. It's mainly been from southern or northern or maybe off the Italian border. But that's about it. That's like as most as we've seen so far. We'll have to see if Spain picks up that province. More than likely they will. Yeah, more than likely they will. And yep, we're going to see Russia get absolutely dominated. Wow. So we've seen this time in and time again where Russia they just get destroyed. They get destroyed. They declare an offensive war. It becomes a bad idea, and then China joins in. And actually, it wasn't China's war. It was an alliance war that Poland needed to call them in, I guess, on. Okay, so Malaya is still involved in their war. They're only at 4 war score now, though. So maybe Australia was able to kick them out. Possibly. Oh, let's see what Spain... Did Spain peace out? It looks like they did. Well, yeah, they definitely did. And, yeah, there you go. Another big chunk for Spain. Now we'll wait for them to attack Navarra and stuff like that, and that'll be a pretty big development going on there in the Iberian Peninsula, and I guess outside of the Iberian Peninsula. Okay, so what's going on? I'm guessing you lost a battle. Yes, because Australia certainly had the numbers advantage in Australia for a while, because Malaya hadn't brought over any more units. I don't know why. And maybe they're not trying that hard. Maybe they don't really want this. Maybe they're just trying to assert their dominance or something like that. Maybe it was an economic war that they declared. They're not really trying to actually send over units. We'll see. Wait a second. Is this a stack? Yes, it is. Okay, well, so we're going to see where this goes from here. It looks like Australia still controls about 135 regiments, I'm estimating there. 66 times 2 plus, a couple of these random ones. Maybe almost 150,000 men are still under their control. So it's a little bit more even. If they stay divided, though, I guess if both of these nations stay divided, it could go either way. As long as one doesn't group up together, that's the problem. So we've seen this more and more. We've seen this a lot. Not only have we seen China destroy Russia, but the results out of this war usually doesn't end up too bad for Russia, and it doesn't end up too good for China. China never really asks anything during these wars. They absolutely dominate, but they don't really ask of anything. We saw India, and India was forced to release all this stuff. Russia lost a little bit to China early on. Like one of the first Chinese-Russian wars, we saw them lose a bit. But, oh my gosh, look at Poland here. And you have to give a lot of credit to Norway, because I think Norway... Oh no, Norway's not actually transferring that occupation just yet. Or they actually might have been, but maybe just this one province is something that they want. But maybe Norway's doing a significant amount of damage in modern-day Norway here. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Is Russia like throwing any resistance over here? Is Saudi Arabia being involved at all? I don't think they are, because they don't. They're just sitting there with their pretty massive force. I mean, that could really help. The Saudis could really help, but I don't think they have military access through Turkey. Yeah, Turkey, Iran, and India, they all don't like the Saudis, so that would explain why military access has not been given to them. That actually explains a whole bunch. And there's the 90 stack. Man, Poland is looking good. One thing I do want to check on is the fort map mode. Okay, so it looks like there's definitely been a lot more forts that have been built. Oh, yeah. There's a lot more forts that have been built. I'm actually really surprised. This is looking... I don't know. I've never really seen a map like this before. This is crazy. Whole bunch of forts. I don't think that... I thought we checked in on that early on and there wasn't as many forts, but there's a lot of them now, that's for sure. Anyways, we're going to have to see what happens with this war in the next one. Mexico has gone to war for more Central American countries. And that is about it. We're going to see the results of some of these. Ooh, Congo facing a huge coalition. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.